the Know Your Gear podcast.
So let's do Guitar of the Week. Let's take a second. Let's do Guitar of the Week. This Guitar of the Week is special to me. It's super special, and I want to share it because it is an example of our community and the world we live in that sometimes people forget. We live in this other world that social media likes to tell you we live in, which is this everything sucks and everything's horrible. So I'm going to tell the story. I don't really have permission to tell this story, so I'm going to be delicate with it, okay? I didn't want to ask permission, if that makes any sense. Not because I thought somebody would say no, but also because you'll just trust me. Everybody will understand in the next 30 seconds to a minute when I get into the guitar. So we have a lot of viewers. They're very passionate. They're very amazing, and they like to congregate here on Fridays. Friday has been great, as an avenue for me as a YouTuber. Sure, do I get views and clicks? And yeah, some of the questions you ask create really sensationalized titles, and of course, it draws in a lot of people who then click right out of the video. But that's okay, right? But we do have a community here. You guys show up every Friday. You guys are very nice to each other. There's always a couple people that are just like, I don't know why you have to act that way, but hey, you're the minority and the majority is great. So I had a viewer reach out to me, as sometimes viewers do, and he had an issue, a small issue. And here's his issue. So his name is Gene, and he has a guitar, and here's the issue with the guitar. It's a beautiful instrument, and it belonged to his son Nate, who has passed away. Now, as someone, as you know, and this is something I identify with because I've told the story about how like my mother and my father passed away, and Shauna lost her sister, and we've had losses. And when people pass on, one of the things that you deal with is, which isn't the important thing, but it's the thing that you deal with, is what to do with their stuff. I don't want to make this dark. I promise you this has an uplifting side to it. But you want the stuff that they care about, even though it's stuff, you want it to go to people who care about it. So here's what happened. He plays guitar, his son plays guitar, and so his son has this guitar that he's left behind, but it's a 7-string, and Gene does not play 7-string guitar. So he reached out to me and said, hey, I'd like to send you this 7-string guitar. Now, I know what you're thinking, because I told him the same thing you're thinking. A YouTuber that gets guitars all the time doesn't need another guitar from somebody. But I also understand, as someone who's had to physically deal with what to do with these things that someone I care about has left behind, and it's important that these things aren't a value proposition like dollars. They're a emotional value, which is it's an intangible thing. I'm like, I'll tell you what I like to do. So he sent me the guitar. I said, send me the guitar. And this is what I told him I'm going to do with it. So please, I'm going to tell you, please don't email me. Okay? I will keep you guys posted, just like with the Baduk N4, but don't email me, okay? Because I'm not going to read it. So his son has this beautiful Kiesel 7-string VADER. He's a very talented musician. I got to watch some of his stuff on Instagram. Very amazing player. 7-string, he put the abalone knobs. He doesn't have a switch tip there. I'll eventually probably put a switch tip. This has the tremolo. This is in the raw tone finish. If you don't know what that means the guitar is ash. In fact, I'm going to switch to a camera that's really bright. There you go. Look how bright I look. This is a brighter camera angle. You can see here, you can see the ash through. It has the ebony backplate. This is a beautiful instrument. This is neck through. You have maple, walnut, maple, walnut, maple on this VADER 7-string. And then, of course, the fretboard has been stained. So it's stained brown, obviously, with black diamond inlays. But then he did 2 mother of pearls on the 12th fret. Isn't that gorgeous? It's a beautiful instrument. I understand. Like, this is a beautiful instrument. And I can understand the issue with, let me go back to this camera angle. I know they're dramatically different cameras, I know. So, I can imagine the issue is, look, as if I had somebody leave me an 8-string guitar, I can't really play the 8-string. I understand the issue. So I said, hey, yes, send me the guitar. So here's what we're going to do with the guitar. There's 3 things that are happening with the guitar. First, I'm sharing it with you for Guitar of the Week. I want you guys to see it. I've had it for a while. I want to share it. I'm going to play it. I'm going to show it off to you, how great this guitar is. And then I'm going to tell you, so as you know, I've been recording an album. When I say recording album, I'm just recording tracks that I can copyright so I can play on my videos without getting copyright strikes. And I was already planning to do one with a 7-string, and I told him, I think I told him, I'm not sure. I know I told him some of what I'm going to tell you, and the rest is maybe not so much. I'm going to play this on the actual recording of the song I'm doing on I'm doing a record, I guess, whatever you call that, because again, that's how I have to copyright it. And I've already written the song with the 7-string, and I'm going to play this guitar on it. And then what I told him, which he's totally fine with, so you guys know, I don't need another 7-string. And I may end up keeping this. I don't think I will. The reason is because, as you guys know, I have a universe that my wife gave me. I just don't know. But I did tell him, I said, I want to pass it on to somebody who will play it. That's why I'm saying don't email me and say, hey, I would love that guitar. Look, I'm going to find somebody. I'll let you know. I'll know when it's right. The right person, the person who's going to play this. I want to find someone who would love to own like an amazing guitar with a huge, amazing story, but also an amazing playing guitar. The value proposition doesn't matter, even though it is an expensive instrument. But anyways, it'll go to somebody, maybe a younger player. I don't know yet. I keep kind of putting my feelers out there. I'm sure I'll come across a guitar player one day and be like, that's the guitar player. This is the person. This guitar needs this. I believe in the romance of guitars. I believe this, really, I do. As silly as it sounds, I believe that guitars find you. You find guitars. Things work out that way. I think it's gonna work on out. Let me play it, and then we'll go. When we'll talk about some more. Let me go ahead. I got to switch cameras. We'll switch over. I have a little bump thing that plays that Shauna says something, so I can change my seat position, and then we'll play. Here we go.
Now it's time for Guitar of the Week.
Okay, so we're going to be running this guitar through a Ingalls Steve Morris 20-watt all-tube amp with delay and reverb that's built into the amp. That runs through a 112 cabinet with a Redback Celestion, mic'd up with a Sennheiser E609 and a room mic. I'll be playing a backing track from the Max Backing Track YouTube channel, which I think are the best backing tracks, drum tracks on YouTube. I just like how aggressive they sound. And we'll go ahead and let's get started. Let's Alrighty. Okay, so, okay. Did I hit the right button? You know, every time I transition, I'm like, did I hit the right button? Did I not hit the right button? Did I put my foot switch down? Okay, so obviously the guitar sounds amazing and it plays great. I actually think this is the thicker 7-string neck. I don't know if this is the thinner one. I'm really not 100% sure. It is tongue oiled. You can see they painted it here, and then it's natural fast. Then it's all tongue oiled. And then I'm not 100% sure on the pickups, what model pickups they are. I could probably easily look them up because they're the dual screw head size. So each side, let me switch to the brighter camera again. Each side of the pickup The screw. So there's no slugs and screws. It's just both lines of screws. So if anyone knows which Kiesel pickup is both rows of screws, flathead screws, that would help me know which models are in these pickups. And then weight wise, it's pretty good. I'd say. I mean, it's on the heavier side, probably because the neck through, because it's got big strips of walnut and maple going all the way to the bottom. But I would say weight wise, 7-ish pounds, which is heavy for a VADER, but not heavy at all for a guitar. And like I said, I will keep you guys updated on this. You know, it's one of those things, the downfall of headless guitars is I can't hang them on the wall behind us. Maybe I'll get some sideways hangers one day. And like I said, it'll eventually find a home. It'll find the right home, even if that means staying here. But if it stays here, obviously I'll let go of a 7-string. But like I said, I thought, I didn't know. I kept telling myself, like, do I talk about this? Do I bring it up as guitar of the week? What do I do with it? And, you know, I don't know. I just wanted to put out some more energy out in the world. So this energy, whatever this is, I know it's one of those things, like, this is a negative situation, but it's not a negative energy thing. Does it make sense? The idea that somebody's like, hey, I just want to find a beautiful home from this beautiful instrument, you know, is the best thing you can do from situations like that. And also, hey, we get to see a new guitar this week. I know that's like sometimes not the big thing of this thing. But anyways, we'll find out how it goes. I think if there's one thing for sure is I know something will happen positive with this guitar. I just can feel it from the minute I opened the gig bag when it got here. Because I wasn't sure how to handle the situation when he sent me the message, but I was like, all of a sudden it just hit me. I'm like, you know, I think I told you this. We'll end on this story. I think I told you this story once, that when my father passed away, my sister's like, he had this bass boat. He was super into fishing. I wasn't into fishing. In fact, something since I'm bringing up somebody else's stuff, I'll bring up something sensitive to me, you know, because it's just, you're not going to believe what I'm about to tell you. That's sarcasm, by the way. My father hated taking me fishing because I wouldn't shut up. Me and my father didn't get along. So you can imagine, like, the one few things we could get along with, because he wasn't around much of my life. But when he was around, you know, it's like we didn't fight. We just didn't get along. And he hated me. He would take me fishing, like, because my mom would ask him, because he hated it. Because I didn't know that you're supposed to. Well, I knew you're supposed to shut up when you're fishing. But you can imagine just sitting on a boat or on the shore with me when all you want is peace and quiet. It was not a pleasurable experience for him. So anyways, so when he passed away, we had this boat, and we had all these fishing poles and all this fishing gear, and it was probably worth thousands, if not tens of thousands of dollars, because the boat was worth worth a good amount of money for a fishing boat, right? Because I mean, it was a little fishing boat, and it was worth like $15,000 used, which is a lot of money for a little fishing boat, at least back in 2004, maybe 2005. 2005 is when no one wanted the boat because no one fished, including me. And so my sister was like, could you please sell the boat for us? So we sold the boat. And I told you the story. The kid was like 20 something years old. He drove up from Yuma, Arizona to buy this boat. And he was so excited about this boat. He was the one. Like, I wasn't looking for the right person to sell this boat to, because I really just, you know, I was just doing the thing that I was asked to do by the family. But, you know, my family. So anyways, man, he was so excited. And he was like, you know, he's like, yeah, I'll take the boat. It's great. And he's, you know, giving Shauna the money. And he's like going on about this boat. And Shauna's like, yeah, it was Phil's dad. And he was into fishing. He's like, man, he took perfect. This boat's like brand new. It's like amazing. And he's like, all the things I guess my dad added to the boat were really cool. And he was like, look at all this stuff. And I don't know. That's what I said. I don't know how much all the fishing gear was worth, you know, but I know this. That guy, the kid, 20-year-old something, and by the way, a boat in Arizona. Yeah, there's a lot of lakes in Arizona. By the way, Arizona is mostly not desert. It's like the second half of Arizona is trees and pine and, you know, stuff like that. So anyways, this is where it gets funny. I looked at him and I was like, Shauna's taking his money, you know, and they're doing the transaction in our garage of our house. And I'm like, I'm going to give this kid all my dad's stuff. Cause like I'm not gonna sell this stuff. I rather this guy's so excited about it. He knows what it all is. Like I don't know anything about fishing, but I know guitar and I know what it looks like when somebody's like, yeah, your dad's Les Paul was immaculate and amazing. And I'm like, oh, by the way, I have all this other guitar stuff. You want it? And I said, hey, my dad has this other fishing gear. You want to see it? And he's like, sure. And he goes and looks at it, and his face just like probably what I would describe my face would look like if I was at somebody's house buying somebody's stuff and they said, hey, you want to see all this guitar stuff? And it was like a vintage Marshall and a vintage Fender, whatever, all this cool stuff, whatever you think is cool. And he goes, oh my goodness. And before he could say anything, I go, you can have all that. And he's like, are you kidding me? And I'm like, no, you can just have that. And he's like, are you sure? And I'm like, yeah. And then that's how I know it was worth a lot, because he was like, I don't think I should take it. I think if you want, I can buy it from you. And I'm like, no, you can just have it. Because I go, you seem to really know what it is. It was all in the boat. So, and he took it. And the point of the story is, there's just something about, even though the stuff is just stuff, right? Sometimes we can imprint some magic onto that stuff, and maybe that goes on to the next person. That's just my way of saying it. That's my thing for today. So if you like this clip and you'd like to watch another one, you can click right here. And if you want to see the entire episode of the podcast, you can click right there. As always, thank you for your time and know your gear.